I, 49 male, found out that my wife, 64 female, of 28 years, can still hurt me. She's done it. I didn't think she could after all these years, but she hurt me again. This one is deep too, the kind of wound that will not heal. It will just sit, festering, in my soul. We met way back in 1994. I was young, only 21, and I had my whole life ahead of me. I'm not going to lie, I've never been a handsome guy. I'm not the sort of guy that the ladies swoon over. That's how it was when I was a kid and didn't date, and that's how I still am to this day. This isn't to say that I'm some sort of ogre. I don't normally think I'm repulsive. I'm just not a hunky type of guy. When we met, she was the most beautiful, amazing woman I had ever known, and she still is. An absolute stunner who, for some reason, decided to talk to me. In retrospect, this was probably a lost bet gone wrong for all I know. Things moved really fast for us, and we were living together in no time. Like literally a week or so after we met, I moved into her place. I couldn't believe this was happening. Here she was, this absolute goddess, and she was with me. Not only was she gorgeous, but also smart and funny. And just everything I could possibly dream of. And the sex, well, the sex was incredible. Even though I was in this relationship, somewhere in those back rooms in our minds where doubt, anxiety, and fear live, there was a voice. You know you aren't good enough, who knows why she's with you, but you know it won't last. She'll find someone better than you, which would basically be anyone. And this will all be over. She deserves so much better than, well, you. Look at you. You are short, and you look like a skeleton. Anyone at all would be better than you. But she didn't. Weeks became months, and then years. We got married, and even then, the voice would not stop. My self-esteem, which should have been through the roof, would never truly develop past being a kid that everyone made fun of, and none of the girls wanted to be seen with. I used to go to summer camp every year, and I loved it. It was a blast. One year they had a Sadie Hawkins dance. For those of you unfamiliar with this, it comes from an old comic strip called Lilibner. There was a character named Sadie Hawkins, and she would ask fellas out on dates, which was unheard of at the time. So the function of the Sadie Hawkins dance is that the girls would ask the guys out. I was a young and hopeless romantic, and there were plenty of girls I hoped would ask me to go. As it got closer to the dance day, one thing was clear: nobody was going to ask me. I think that was the exact moment when my self-esteem stagnated. It was not long into the relationship that the intimacy part of things just stopped. I mean, in the beginning, it was amazing. I know that this is the case in every relationship, and eventually it slows down, but this happened abruptly. One day everything was incredible, and the next we barely knew each other, as far as intimacy goes. By the time we got married, it was nearly non-existent. Still, I stuck around. Gradually it got even worse, and, as of this writing, we haven't done anything more intimate than a peck on the lips for 6 years. That isn't an exaggeration. It's literally been 6 years. As you can imagine, for much of this time, I assumed it was me. She had finally realized that I was not worthy of her affection, and the hens had come home to roost, or whatever that expression is. She told me that it was her. There were physical issues, and I knew she did indeed have a lot of health issues, so this seemed reasonable. Still, that itch in my mind could never quite be scratched. A part of me continued to wonder, is she just repulsed by me? Fast forward to, hell, probably close to 15 years ago now. I found out she was having an emotional affair with someone on Facebook. Now, to the best of my knowledge, she wasn't seeing him in person. He lived far away, but the conversations I discovered between them were just as bad, maybe worse. She called this guy her soulmate. Do you have any idea how that hit me? A ton of bricks is not enough to describe how terrible this was for me. She apologized, kind of. I told her I needed time and space, so she went to stay with a friend of hers. She would call me every day from her friend's house, begging me to take her back. After about a week, I did. We got into a screaming fight on the way home, because she was so angry with me for what I did to her. Having her go stay with her friend was a terrible thing to do, I guess. We got home and that was it. The brief apology phase was over. I would ask her over and over, just tell me why. I never got an answer. Eventually, we got into a fight over this again, and her true feelings came out. It was my fault that she started talking to this guy like that. You see, at the time I had 2 jobs, and worked close to 80 hours a week. I didn't do this because I wanted to. I did it because, in our entire relationship, she has refused to work or do anything to help us financially. While we don't have kids together, her son, who was 4 when we met, is my son as far as I'm concerned. It's hard to take care of a wife and kid with only one person working. But she didn't care. According to her, it's the man's job to make the money and take care of the family. So I worked 2 full-time jobs and sometimes a 3rd part-time job, just to try to keep things together. Because I was always at work, she felt neglected and lonely. So she turned to this guy for the attention she felt she was starved for. That's right, in her eyes, her affair was all my fault. I constantly tell her how beautiful and amazing she is. I tell her I love her 100 times a day. If I tell her once, it wasn't good enough. The same woman who had for years, basically, cut me off from any intimate contact, was now telling me that I should have paid more attention to her. Still, I stayed. I love her. That's the insane part. After all she has put me through, I still love her deeply. I can't imagine life without her. There is also the fact that, as I mentioned, she has literally no work history. There is no possible way she could take care of herself if I wasn't here. I know that if I leave, she will literally end up homeless. I don't want that for the woman I love. So I stay. In spite of it all, I stay because I love her. A few years ago, we decided to get our act together. I was no longer the skeleton man I was when we met. I had put on a lot of weight. So had she. It was impacting her self-esteem. Here was this absolute stunner, who now viewed herself as ugly. Keep in mind, I still tell her daily how gorgeous she is. It doesn't matter. So we started going to the gym. I was running 3 times a week, and lifting 3 times a week. I got in really good shape if I'm being honest. I was taking better care of myself, and so was she. Everywhere we would go, people would say things like, "You guys are the hippest couple in town." I loved it. I loved knowing that she was on my arm all the time. She didn't. Sometimes she would just make weird comments to me. Once we were at the gym, and I did something I was very proud of. I had never been a really strong guy. For the first time in my life, I did 100 pounds on the bench press. I know it isn't a lot, but I was super excited about it. I went to where she was in the gym to tell her. Her reply was, "Oh, that's cool. You should come do some sit-ups with me to get rid of your fat gut." It was as if she took me feeling good about myself, for one of the rare times that happens, as a threat to her. I don't know why, but somehow it started to grate on her badly. This was the beginning of the final downfall. Sometime around October or November of 2016, someone we know told her I was having an affair. I want to be very clear about this. I was not having an affair. I would never do that to her, or to anyone for that matter. There was literally no proof of this affair at all. It didn't matter. Someone told her it was happening, and that was it. Since then, we have not been intimate at all, and we regularly get into fights about this. Yes, 6 years later, after proving my innocence with facts and data at every turn, she still thinks I'm cheating on her. Not just with one person, mind you. Basically with anything that moves. For about 2 years it was bad. Really bad. Screaming fights every day bad. For a while, I honestly thought I might kill myself. At the very least, I seriously considered checking into a hospital. That's how bad my depression and anxiety were. Now all I did was go to work. I would call her the second I got there to let her know I was there. I would call her throughout the day to see how she was. If she called me, I answered the phone no matter what was going on at work. I literally would walk out of meetings just so she wouldn't think I was cheating on her. When it was time to drive home, I would pull up Google Maps, call her and let her know how long it should take, and then I would be home at that time. None of it mattered. She still believed I was cheating. I stopped going to the gym. I stopped running. Hell, I stopped getting regular haircuts. I wasn't showering regularly. A lot of this is due to depression. Some of it was because, in my head, I thought, if I showed her that I didn't care how I looked anymore, she would stop thinking I was cheating on her. I have now ballooned up to about 220 pounds. When we met, I weighed 125 pounds. I have nearly doubled in size. All due to a combination of depression and just wanting her to think that nobody would be interested in me. I desperately hoped this would end the constant accusations of my infidelity. It didn't. She would say things like, she didn't care that I was having an affair. I told her that I cared. That her thinking I'm that kind of person hurts me deeply. That I am very proud of the fact that we have been together for so long, and that I am ever faithful to her. It didn't matter. She continued to believe that I was a cheater, and there was literally nothing I could do about it. My depression is worse than it ever has been. Last night, for no reason that I can think of, she started acting weird again. She always acts a certain way, right before we end up fighting about my alleged infidelity. I can see it coming a mile away by now. Sure enough, I called her out on it and, as always, she starts in with the gaslighting. I don't know what you're talking about. You're acting crazy. I haven't done anything. These are all the usual statements she will make. We get into it. I said some things I wish I hadn't. I can admit that. I also apologized for those things. At one point in the fight, she says to me, "Go F yourself, nobody else ever would." That was it. The fight ended immediately. It took the wind right out of me. All my fears, insecurities, and just general anxious thoughts had just come pouring out of her mouth. I didn't care about the nobody part. I've made it very clear to her that I have no interest in sleeping with anyone else. I have even accepted that if I'm going to be with her, not having sex is a part of that, and I honestly don't care. There are a million moving parts in a relationship, so if we don't have sex, we don't. It would have been nice to be involved in that decision, but at the end of the day, our relationship means more than sex to me. So yes, it wasn't the nobody part that upset me. It was the fact that nobody includes her. The woman who I reassure on a daily basis that she is amazing and incredible and gorgeous. That woman has told me, in no uncertain terms, that she finds me hideous to be around. I told her that if she cares at all about how that makes me feel, then she should know that it makes me feel like I wish I was dead. She is the only thing that matters to me, and after all this, she has finally validated my worst fear. She thinks I'm disgusting. Her response was that she doesn't care. I went to bed alone. I hate sleeping without her in bed with me. But there I was, alone in the dark to wrestle with my worst fear coming to light. As I've always known, I am not good enough for her. The worst part about it is, nothing will ever change. I won't leave her for the reasons mentioned before, and she knows it. So this is my life now. Just a walking ATM that is only here to pay the bills. It's now like having a roommate that doesn't offer to help financially in any way. I don't know where to go from here. If you're worried that I might do something stupid, don't be. I won't. I'm just trapped in this mental hell for, I guess, the rest of my life. I really didn't mean to ramble so much, but once I started putting the words out into reality, everything just sort of came out. If you made it this far, thanks for listening. I'm crying now, in tears from this cathartic exercise, I suppose. I hope it will get better. I know it will never get better. You are being abused. I read every word, because you deserve that. You are being abused. You do not deserve this. Any of it. This is a toxic relationship, and it feels like she is getting something out of mistreating you. You are not emotionally safe right now. That is my gut reaction. You deserve love. You deserve all aspects of love. To the right woman, you are gorgeous. To the right woman, you are a powerful provider and an incredibly supportive partner. You need some space and time, and therapeutic support. She needs to stay somewhere else, and the contact needs to be at a minimum. You need to be safe. I'll be thinking about you. My God, you're so abused. You've always been abused by her. She targeted you as a young adult. She chose someone who wasn't very secure in themselves, and she preyed on you. She is a predator. There is no other reason for a 36-year-old woman to move a 21-year-old into her home, a week into knowing him, belittle him, and tear him down for years, and force him to provide for her. What you need to do is get out. You've been victimized and abused by this woman for almost 3 decades, and it's time to see her for who she is. It's time to prioritize your mental health and get out for your own safety. She won't stop. She'll never stop, because she's seen you as her possession from the moment she met you. I'm so sorry, OP. She literally destroyed his life. Nobody told her about the affair. She made this up as a way to constantly attack him. OP, leave this train wreck. She won't be homeless, and I really hate to tell you, but she likely will end up with a good portion of your money. But it's fine, get a good lawyer, and hopefully a judge will see how you've been taken advantage of. Joke's on her though, I don't have any money. I make decent money, but we have literally nothing in savings, and we don't own anything except a car. And somebody did tell her. I found out who it was and confronted them about it. She knows you aren't cheating. She didn't want you to get fit and healthy, because then you might leave her. This is part of her cycle of manipulation, intimidation, and abuse. She has been using and manipulating you since day one. Sorry you have had to suffer under her for so many years. She doesn't deserve you. Thanks for watching. As I was reading this man's post, I couldn't help but feel such sadness for the OP. I really hope he finds happiness and the strength to leave, as it sounds like he is in a very abusive relationship. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.